Welcome back to your daily YouTube addiction. Today, things are falling apart in the world of online clout chasers faster than Idubbbz's self-respect. First up, Donut Operator, former cop-turned-content creator, just aired out some seriously embarrassing laundry about his old pally and also known as Idubbbz. According to Donut, the two were friends until 2020, until a steak joke somehow destroyed it all. Yes, a steak joke. Apparently, during peak lockdown boredom, Donut made a gag on OnlyFans account. But instead of thirst traps, he was rating steaks, literal meat. He'd slap on an apron, hold up a Wagyu cut, and present it like it was his naughty little secret. Sounds like the kind of dumb humor Idubbbz himself would have celebrated years ago. But nah, Ian didn't laugh, he got pissed. Called Donut, accused him of mocking Ana's OnlyFans, and cut him off for good. Just to be clear, Donut Operator was literally showing beef, not metaphorical beef. No Ana references, no subtext, just actual meat. But Idubbbz took it personally, called it disrespectful, and went full cancel mode on their friendship. Now Donut's out here going, "Dude, I texted you. I tried reconnecting. It's been 5 years, and Ian, radio silence." That's some fragile ego behavior right there. And the irony is so thick you could grill it. Remember when Ana first launched her OnlyFans, Ian was spiraling, publicly defending it, fighting with his own audience about how it's totally normal, totally fine. But when your best friend jokes about meat, suddenly it's too far. PewDiePie even mocked Ian for his complete reversal on values, called him a simp, and guess what? Ian didn't nuke that friendship, but Donut makes a steak joke and it's the end of the world. Nah, this ain't adding up. Let's be real. If you're truly okay with something, you don't flip out every time someone makes fun of it. You don't ghost your friends, you laugh. You move on. That's what normal people do. But this was peak sensitive Ian, the same Ian who's been spiraling since the day his values got dunked in irony and served cold. Dude used to mock performative wokeness, now he is the final boss of it. So, what did Ian do when Donut aired all this? Did he apologize? Clarify? Take accountability? Of course not. Idubbbz fired off a response where he completely dodged the core of the issue. Claimed Donut was pursuing an OnlyFans, whatever that means. Like it's a career track at a university. Bro, you either do OnlyFans or you don't. There's no PhD program in it. Worse, he called Donut a coward for doing a parody. Imagine being so chronically online that you think a steak joke is a personal attack. This is the same guy who built his entire brand off edgy, offensive humor, but now he's allergic to jokes, unless they come with a trigger warning and 3 sensitivity readers. And let's not forget Ana's role in all this, because of course she had to jump in. Ana responded on Twitter, defending Ian and accusing Donut of taking them to a gun show where a loaded gun went off accidentally. Said everyone just muttered and deal like it was no big deal. That's a wild story, almost too wild, like fan fiction on Reddit wild. First response from the crowd, boo-hoo. You're blaming Donut for something random someone else did at a public event. That's not even relevant to your point, but it gets better. Gun YouTuber Brandon Herrera chimed in. He was there. He said it wasn't a gun show, it was a live firing range. And that Ana conveniently left out that detail, shocker, and when he tried to clarify. Surprise, Ana had already preemptively blocked him. Because when the facts don't match the narrative, the block button is the best defense. The whole thing is spiraling into absurdity. At this point, Ana's entire online presence feels like a slow-motion crashout. Even her bio says married to a YouTuber, but it's hard to tell who that's referring to. Because Ian, that dude is a shadow of his former self. Now look, we're not in the business of diagnosing people, but Ana literally admitted on stream that you can track her mental breakdowns by how much she tweets. Quote, "When I'm having a terrible day, I won't shut up on Twitter. I tweet the stupidest bleep, and yeah, it tracks. It's not just oversharing, it's chaotic meltdown behavior on full display. And while we're here, let's talk about the pegging tweet. Yeah, that one. She humiliated Ian in public. Just dragged the man's dignity through digital mud for content. It's like she's on a mission to make sure he never recovers from their relationship. And now she's lying about gun shows, blocking anyone who disagrees, and tweeting like her keyboard owes her money. No wonder people are asking if Ian's okay. And let's be honest, he's probably not. There's no way someone with that much public humiliation, that much backlash, and that much personal compromise is sleeping well at night. At this point, the memes are writing themselves. People are saying Ian went from content cop to content cuck, and well, that's harsh. It's not inaccurate. Also, what's with the random flags in Ina's bio? Married to a YouTuber and like 50 emojis. You trying to distract us from the career collapse happening in 4K, because Idubbbz' content. Duh, the man used to be a giant, now he's barely a footnote. Now let's pivot to Hassan Piker, who continues to get bodied from every direction, left, right, and especially from the center of mainstream media. This week, he's under fire again following the horrific terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado. If you missed it, here's the rundown. A lunatic set people on fire with Molotov cocktails while yelling "Free Palestine." The victims included elderly individuals and children. It was gruesome, horrifying, and now people are pointing fingers. Jonathan Greenblatt from the Anti-Defamation League went on Fox News and dropped Hassan's name directly. Again, whether it's social media influencers like Hassan Piker or others spreading hate on Twitch and YouTube, this kind of rhetoric creates the conditions for these acts. He even lumped Hassan in with TikTok radicalizers and speakers at MIT graduation ceremonies accused of anti-Semitic rhetoric. So let's get this straight. Both CNN and Fox News have now called Hassan out in the same month. You'd think after all this Hassan might reflect on his platform, maybe tone it down. Nope, business as usual. It's getting harder and harder for his defenders to pretend this is all just political disagreement. You can say what you want about Israel, you can criticize any state's policies. That's fair game, but praising terrorism, cheering for shooters, that crosses a line. And Hassan's community isn't exactly subtle about it either. Anytime something like this happens, his chat lights up with hearts, claps, and WS. It's disgusting. That's not dissent, that's radicalization. This is the cost of turning political commentary into parasocial entertainment. When you make edgy hot takes your entire brand, eventually your audience expects more. And when you don't deliver the right amount of rage, they move on. So streamers like Hassan keep escalating, digging deeper into extremism because that's the only way to keep the attention economy spinning. Now let's give credit where it's due. Asmongold, the WoW guy, has been one of the few voices of reason lately. After the Boulder attack, he straight up said it. If the Free Palestine movement doesn't disavow its extremists, they will be defined by them. These are the same people calling others Nazis, and now they're burning Holocaust survivors alive. Asmongold pointed out that when you refuse to condemn terrorism, you become complicit. Not directly, but through cowardice. Through silence. He called out the pro-Palestine movement's online figureheads who are too scared to alienate their most militant fans. You know, fans who celebrate violence, call for more, and think moral clarity is weakness. Sound like anyone we know. Yeah, he didn't say Hassan's name. But let's not play dumb, the implication was clear. And the community picked up on it fast. Asmongold's audience isn't exactly political junkies either, but even they understood what he meant. People are tired of content creators pretending they're journalists while ducking accountability the second things get real, and this is where it gets spicy. Back in November, Hassan boldly declared he wanted to go to Gaza to do on-the-ground journalism, his words. But then, nothing. Months later, someone asked about it, and he suddenly walked it back. I don't have security clearance. It's too dangerous. They couldn't assure me safety. Bro. What? You said you wanted to go there to show solidarity. Now it's too dangerous. Meanwhile, Greta Thunberg, the climate activist teen, is literally sailing into war zones. Greta has more grit than the self-declared socialist revolutionary with a $3,000 mic setup and Twitch Prime subs. Ethan Klein roasted him for this too, called him out in an Instagram story saying, "Greta's on a ship. Hassan won't go because he's scared. Say what you want about Greta, but at least she actually shows up." And he's right. Hassan talks a big game. But when it's time to act, he's buffering. Instead of Gaza, Hassan's just retweeting memes and engaging with accounts that openly fantasize about violence. He's clicking like on tweets that glorify killing people and then saying yep like it's a normal political opinion. Dude, that's not edgy. That's unhinged. That's the kind of stuff that gets people hurt. And let's be real, if your version of activism involves liking fantasy massacre tweets, shaming 12-year-olds into donating, and calling it mutual aid, you're not a revolutionary. You're just another brand in a beret. Now let's talk about Ethan Klein, the last man standing in the YouTube battlefield who still knows how to punch up, down, and sideways all at once. While Hassan's off doing scrolling and melting down on stream, Ethan's taking the war to Instagram. After the Boulder attack made headlines, men used flamethrower yelling "Free Palestine" during anti-Semitic attack, Ethan posted, "Can't wait to see people defending setting children and elderly people on fire." And you already know who he was talking about. The replies rolled in fast. Top 1. Hassan will be the #1 defender. Ethan doubled down. He posted more stories, calling out the radicalization pipeline and mocking Hassan for pretending he was ever going to Gaza. Said Greta had more backbone, more conviction, and unironically more courage. Then came the roast of the year. Greta went on a ship to block a humanitarian aid blockade. Hassan, he's too scared because he didn't get his activism badge. And bro, it's true. Greta's out here doing civil disobedience with international consequences. Hassan's flexing Twitch Prime subs and retweeting his own clips. Ethan's take is brutal but accurate. Hassan's activism is performative. It's yacht socialism staged for an audience that throws bits and claps whenever he says capitalism bad in a deep voice. It's cosplay, and it's falling apart. Speaking of falling apart, let's revisit Hassan's outrage over Ethan and he was saying Gazins instead of Palestinians. If you remember, Hassan went off, called it dehumanizing, Islamophobic, and used the whole segment to try and morally grandstand. Well, guess what? The internet never forgets. Someone on the H3 subreddit pulled up clips of Hassan using the exact same word out Gazins multiple times. In serious political commentary, repeatedly, Gazins don't have clean water. Gazan civilians are dying. All infrastructure in Gaza used by Gazins, he didn't even say it once by accident. This man used it as a proper noun, so where's the outrage? Turns out Hassan isn't mad about the word. He's just mad when Ethan says the word. Because their friendship fell apart and now everything is ammo, it's classic projection. Hassan tries to call out hypocrisy while being neck-deep in it himself. He can't even keep track of his own rules, and honestly, that's why this whole woke influencer ecosystem is crumbling. The moment you stop being consistent, the mask slips and the audience notices. Hassan being a massive hypocrite isn't breaking news, it's just Wednesday. Back to Anna because yes, she's still tweeting, still spiraling, still dragging Ian down like the emotional anchor she is. She posted some selfies recently and the replies were something else. People simping, complimenting her beauty, and acting like she's not the most disliked figure in the commentary scene right now. Then Ethan reposts it with a classic snipe, "Time for your pegging, oof." Someone replied with a fanfiction-level defense, "Imagine getting picked by Anna, that just proves Ian's amazing. She's beautiful and awesome, bro, stop. Nobody hates Anna because she's beautiful. people hate Anna because she has the energy of a haunted Urban Outfitters and the online behavior of a 2009 Tumblr user with unresolved trauma. She publicly emasculated her husband, made their private lives into memes, and helped him tank a legacy that once stood as one of the strongest in YouTube history, and Ian, he let her. He stood by while his identity, humor, and dignity got repackaged into woke TikTok speak and fed back to the same audience he used to mock. That's why people are angry, not because of Anna's looks. Because of the choices, the changes, the sheer, unfiltered hypocrisy. Let's round off this segment with a little chaos courtesy of Sean Moon No. 7, the latest addition to Hassan's growing army of orbiters. This guy, known for defending Hassan like it's his religion, recently threatened to dock someone for criticizing him. Bro, you just posted your face today. I'd be stepping more carefully if I were you. Really, that's where we're at now. Imagine being so deep in parasocial worship you start issuing casual threats because someone ratioed your favorite Twitch streamer. And this guy has already been on record saying he wanted to kill another streamer. It's like every Hassan fanbase meetup is one step away from turning into a true crime episode. This is the same crew that supported CPS calls on Ethan Klein's kids. The same people who dox, harass, and threaten critics all while pretending they're on the right side of history. Spoiler alert, if you need to threaten people to win an argument, you already lost. Now let's pivot to some actual good news, yes, that still exists. Asmongold just made history on his multi-stream. 100,000 plus viewers, simultaneously, across multiple platforms, and what was Twitch's reaction? Nothing, crickets, no backroom warnings, no backhanded emails. No twos reminders. In fact, according to Asmon himself, every conversation I've had with Twitch about using other platforms they've been supportive, so Twitch is either asleep at the wheel, or they've realized they have zero leverage anymore because this is the future. Creators are tired of being chained to one site. Why should you put all your eggs in Twitch's basket when you can double, triple, even quadruple your audience just by pressing an extra button? Asmongold gets it, and now other creators are waking up too. The message is simple. Twitch doesn't own you. The algorithm doesn't own you. Multi-streaming is freedom. Here's where things get serious. Asmongold didn't just talk about viewership. He took aim at the real cancer inside Twitch, the moderation team. The people who are really going to kill Twitch are their moderation team. Not banning people advocating for violence, ignoring toxicity, that's what's going to do it. And he's right, this isn't a platform problem. It's a leadership problem. Twitch is bleeding creators not because YouTube is better, but because Twitch is worse. YouTube might be slow and corporate, but Twitch is opaque and vindictive. It's filled with inconsistent bans, invisible rules, and political double standards. Hassan gets away with everything: radical rhetoric, harassment, slander, and Twitch turns a blind eye. Meanwhile, other creators get banned for the dumbest reasons. Say one bad word, gone. Make a joke, suspended. Twitch staff picks favorites, and it's clear who's on the VIP list. But Asmongold, he's blowing that whole system wide open. By thriving off-platform, he's proving you don't need Twitch's approval to succeed. And you know what that means? Twitch's grip is slipping. For years, Hassan has relied on Twitch's ecosystem to shield him. His revenue, reach, and power all stem from a platform that lets him get away with what would ban most others, but now that monopoly is cracking. Asmongold's 100K multi-stream shattered the illusion that Twitch is the only viable path. Smaller creators are already following suit. And if Twitch doesn't start applying rules equally, they'll lose even more. Here's the thing, you can't have a functioning ecosystem if your rules only apply to people you don't like. Eventually, everyone notices, and when someone like Asmon who brings in massive traffic calls you out, it matters. Twitch has a choice, evolve or fade. And judging by their silence, they're picking the second option. So let's recap the damage real quick. Idubbbz got exposed for cutting off a friend over a meat joke. Anna tried to rewrite history with a gun range fantasy and got fact-checked by Brandon Herrera. Hassan got name-dropped by mainstream media again for being dangerously irresponsible with his platform. Ethan went full Instagram crusader and didn't miss. Asmongold reached new heights, proving Twitch isn't the center of the universe anymore, and at the core of all this, fragile egos, self-importance, narcissism masked as virtue. Hassan, Ian, and they've all become parodies of themselves. Once edgy, now soft, once funny, now fragile. Once respected, now resented, they built their platforms on raw, honest content. But somewhere along the way, they traded truth for safe takes, humor for hypocrisy, and friendship for fandom. And now they're imploding, publicly, loudly, embarrassingly. So what's the lesson here? Don't become the villain in your own redemption arc. Don't preach integrity while throwing tantrums. And for the love of God, don't try to cancel your friend over a joke about state.